without delaying too much longer, let's start with our first topic of the day. And our first topic of the day, we're talking about UberEATS, which has been in the news a lot recently, a lot more so than rideshare. And that's, of course, because people are actually using UberEATS and they're not using rideshare. So,
Oh my goodness!
My friend just freeze. Oh, did you? No, you're here. Here.
You froze for a moment, but continue.
Well, okay. Well, anyway, I kind of discovered this topic at the last minute, but apparently you had already read this before. And let's correct this a little bit. And this is from Mashable. And see, this is why it's messing up because of the ads. And the headline is, "Pay a little more and UberEATS will deliver faster." And I was of two minds when I read this headline, if it was what I thought it was going to be. First of all, what a genius way to price gouge people. And second, of course, is what a scummy thing to do. I expect nothing less from Uber. So you look at the article, and here's what it says on Mashable. If you've ever ordered a burger on UberEATS and impatiently watched the app tracker as your meal was submitted, processed, cooked, and finally picked up for delivery, there's a new feature to speed up the process. The food delivery app added a priority delivery option on Monday. For an additional 99 cents to $2, you can make sure your delivery handles your order first before dropping off another order in the queue. It's supposed to guarantee anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes less waiting time. Now, here's how the faster delivery looks on the app. Your delivery will come to you directly after it gets picked up. You won't have to wait for other orders to get dropped off on the way ahead of your burgers. And of course, as you can see right here, it says priority, and they're charging an extra 99 cents for priority. Now, they also offer this. There's a no rush feature where if you're probably willing to wait a little longer, you will save 50 cents. And then there's standard, which has no change in price whatsoever. Now, here's the thing, Mark. I'm going to share a little story of when I was a 17-year-old. And one of my original jobs was delivering pizza for Round Table Pizza. And in a strange way, this system has been around forever. It really has, because you could see who was, if they were paying by credit card anyway, many people would give you a tip on the credit card. And you could see up front who was tipping on the credit card and who was not. And I'm not going to lie, I prioritized the people who I knew were tipping. I prioritize those people. It makes sense. They're giving you a little extra money. You want to make sure that their service is better so that hopefully next time they call, they're inclined to tip you a little bit more. So this is nothing new. But that was a personal choice. That was not company policy. That was just something I did. This is something that Uber is making standard as their app. It almost feels mafia-ish, like, hey, you want that pizza a little bit faster? You maybe want that cheese to be nice and melted and not cold? Hey, but you pay $1. And then they charge $1, and the app will prioritize that order. So not only is that a little scummy, like you're definitely nickel and diming the customer, but of course there's nothing in here that the driver is going to benefit from this. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if the driver gets nothing. So basically, they're being treated like an employee again, like they're being demanded by the head company to prioritize certain orders because they're making more money on them, but the driver isn't making more money on them. So basically, they're being an employee at that point. They no longer have the option to deliver how they want to deliver. A head company is saying, hey, you're going to deliver this place first because they're paying more money. But I'm an independent contractor and I'm not making that much money. It's like, well, it doesn't matter. They're paying us money, so you're going to deliver that first. Well, I thought I was independent, and So I don't know, Mark. You look at this, and what do you think of what Uber's doing here?
Well, my first thought is, now that you alienated all of the Italians in the audience with that terrible accent and pigeonholing of Italian Americans, just to make sure I distance myself from that.
Of course. Why not?
There are so many things that can go wrong here. So many things that can go wrong. First of all, I don't even think that Uber can back this up. As someone who has been on both sides of this equation, and what I mean by that, having been delivering and having been on the receiving end of this, we all know that, first of all, it really depends on where you're delivering. How often do we get 2 and 3 deliveries? Sometimes we do, but more often than not, I'll grab and pick one meal up and run out the door. So it really isn't guaranteeing anything. Now, I'm telling you that the restaurant isn't going to care. They're going to make the food the way they make the food. You know, if someone has an order that comes in later, they're not going to make a priority on preparing the food. So that's not going to change. And for Uber drivers, the delivery people, you know, we have to deliver the food the way it's going to make the most sense. If there's something that's 3 blocks away, and then the next one that I have in my car is 1.5 miles away, I'm not going to deliver the 1.5 miles, then come back to the one that was 3 blocks away. That doesn't even make sense in routing. So I suspect they can guarantee what they want. I don't know if the drivers would even abide by it. Finally, as you said, you know, who's making the money on this? Certainly not the drivers, and yet the drivers are the ones that are going to have to fulfill this contract. Once again, it comes back independent contractors, and yet we are expecting to abide by rules that someone else put in place, that someone else is making money on. And how is that being an independent contract? So all the way around, number one, I think it's going to be ineffective and inefficient. And number two, I just think that it's just a sleazy thing to do. I think most of the time, it's not going to have an impact anyway. It's a money grab, and I don't feel good about it.
Well, you know, one of the things that Postmates did, because I still occasionally do Postmates, but about 1.5 years ago, Postmates used to be where if you collected multiple orders, they would like list the orders, and you could more or less choose which orders you wanted to deliver and in what order. And then at one point, Postmates changed it where they would basically provide the information to what they felt was most convenient for you, and you wouldn't even see like the delivery information for the other order. So you're basically following their lineup. So that's one of the ways that Uber might do it. They might actually remove the ability to see all the orders information, and they'll just give you the information for the next one they want you to do. Mm-hmm. But again,
I'm sure that there's delivery people out here that are more knowledgeable on it. I don't deliver in a highly populated urban area, and I rarely get multiple orders. I rarely get them. Usually I go, I pick up an order, I deliver, and I get called back. So, you know, perhaps I'm the wrong person to ask. Regardless, unless that 99 cents is going to the driver, I don't think that it is a fair system, and it's just another one of those things when Uber has a tendency to shoot themselves in the foot. They have something good, and they kill the golden goose. They did with the drivers and rideshare, and that's why after all these years they're still not profitable. Finally, they're seeing something that appears to be profitable, which is a food delivery, and they're going to mess that up. It's so clean, so simple. Mm-hmm. Why start throwing a wrench into it?
Yeah, you know, the biggest question that I have about this is this option where you can wait a little longer for like a 50 cents discount, which first of all, 50 cents is nothing. But what happens like if you're like the first order and it's like, okay, I'll wait a little longer for my food and I'll save 50 cents. But then like 3 people pay the $1 to get their food delivered before that person. By the time you get there, it's pretty conceivable the food might be cold and you might have to nuke it in the microwave. Now, first of all, is that 50 cents worth saving at that point? And secondly, what does that do to the restaurant's reputation? What does that do to UberEATS' reputation? Does that affect the driver's tip now because they're not getting warm food? I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong. And the thing is, you know, a lot of people are going to say, hell yeah, I'll save 50 cents because unfortunately it's really weird. People who use UberEATS a lot tend to be extremely cheap. even though they're paying on average 30% more for the food than they would have had they gone and picked it up themselves. But they're really cheap and they expect this high quality service. Well, they're obviously going to gravitate towards saving a little bit of money, but then the service is going to get poor and they're going to take it out on the driver and the restaurant, anyone but Uber Eats.
Well, here's the other thing that you came just an eyelash away from talking to, and I thought you were going to go there. What if everybody on that route pays the dollar? We can't all be the first person. So what if everybody decides to pay, and now they're not honoring a contract?
Yeah. Well, at that point,
or are they just going to say one driver, one meal because everybody paid $1?
You know, I don't think that they're going to limit that because here's why. They'll just word it like everyone's getting a priority and no one's getting any less of a priority because they're all paying their dollar. But then at that point, like there's kind of like almost a little legal loophole because it's like, well, but then they're paying for a service they're technically not giving.
Yeah. The second or third guy on that list paid his dollar and he's watching the driver make other stops.
Yeah. No, it's it is. Yeah. And that's because you can't actually, well, that's the other thing though. They do let you look on the app to see the status of your delivery, but you don't see the status of anyone else's delivery. Oh, that came up too quick. Sorry.
No, you don't, but you can tell. I mean, it's pretty obvious if something is happening to your order because you see that car stop for 5 minutes. Right. Or if you see him, I was in, where the heck was I? I think I was in Jersey somewhere, and I ordered, and the restaurant was literally across the street, but it was a complicated street. It was like, the interstate was intersecting with this street that had a number of boulevards in between it and all this. And it just would have been very troublesome just to walk across the street. And I said, I'm not doing nothing but watching TV. I'll order Uber Eats. I mean, I probably could have looked out the window and saw the guy, picking up the food. I'm looking on the app, and I knew when the driver got there. And I could tell the driver was waiting and waiting and waiting. Now, if I would have seen that driver suddenly head 12 blocks in the opposite direction and then come back, it would have been pretty apparent to me that something was going on. And if I paid my 99 cents, I wouldn't be happy about it.
Right. No, I definitely hear you. So, well, anyway, I think this is a bad idea all around. But of course, Uber is going to do what they can to get as much pennies from people as humanly possible. That's what happened when you sell a premium service at a discount for 3+ years or something like that. But anyway, all of you folks watching at home, what do you think about this? Do you like this idea? Do you dislike this idea? Would you pay the dollar? If you are delivering for Uber Eats, have you come across this and how does it play off? We would love to know. So comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly.
And add to that, would they have a different opinion if the $1.99 was going in our pocket rather than Uber's pocket? Would that change your opinion?
Would that change your opinion? Yes, good thing to bring up. So let us know in the comments below.